Well, hey, Burlpres students, I am so excited that you are watching another 7 at 7. If this is your very first time watching one of these, we just want to extend a warm welcome to you. And every Wednesday night, we have these things called 7 at 7, which is a 7-minute devotional at 7 p.m. And so this is your quick fix throughout the week. And so this is a time where I want to encourage you to send this message to someone, whether you leave their name in the comments or DM them this video. You never know how this message could help. You never know what that person is going through, and you never know how Jesus can change their life in just 7 minutes. And so I know Christmas just passed, and so I hope you had a very Merry Christmas. I hope you got everything on your Christmas list. And I know that New Year's is just around the corner. And so that's really what we're going to be talking about is 2021. But I don't want to boot 2020 to the side already. As we start getting so excited for this new year, I want to ask you a question, and that's this. If you could describe 2020 in one word, what would it be? See, my word would probably be growth. Now, I think I've grown a lot in my maturity. I've grown a lot in my relationships with other people, with friends, with family, and most importantly, my relationship with God. I've also grown in my TikTok skills. If you ask my sister, she'll probably say no, but I think I've grown in those areas. And so what would your word be if you had to describe 2020? Maybe for you, 2020's word is change. Maybe 2020's word was fun. Maybe 2020's word was e-learning, or maybe 2020's word for you was disappointment. I don't know what 2020 looked for you, but maybe you're hoping that 2021 will be so much better. Maybe you're hoping that it's not full of disappointment and uncertainty. And one thing we can all agree on is that 2020 was that. So how can we start 2021 off differently? How can we start it so motivated and driven? Well, I want to tell you this. You need to change your perspective on New Year's resolutions. I don't know about you, but every year I debate on whether or not I should even write some New Year's resolutions, because to be honest with you, about 5 days goes by and I completely forget what I even wrote down, or I just don't feel motivated at all. Studies show that most people actually stop their New Year's resolution around January 18th. That's only a few weeks into the month of January and they already stop. Now, why is that? Why is it that we start to feel so unmotivated for something we wanted so much in 2021? Well, a big reason for that is because we are selfish with our New Year's resolutions. We only think of what's going to benefit us, of what's going to help us, of what we want us to be for the new year, instead of thinking that it could benefit others, or more importantly, what God actually wants from us. You see, it says this in Matthew 6:33. It says, "But seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be provided for you." And what I want to encourage you to do is, as you start writing these New Year's resolutions, or even if you've written them, I want you to go back and reflect upon them. A, do they benefit others? And B, is this God's will or God's plan for you? Now, if you're uncertain about both of those things, a great place to start is the big man upstairs. What I want to encourage you to do is to go to God first and to pray this simple prayer. Say, God, what do you want from me? God, how can you use me this year? God, what are the areas that I can grow in? And God, how can I further your kingdom? Those simple prayers, God will clearly state it for you. Like it said in Matthew 6:33, that all you have to do is go to the Father and he will provide it for you. So instead of making those New Year's resolutions on things that will help you, maybe you can start thinking of things that will benefit others. Maybe one of your New Year's resolutions is to raise $1,000 for a foster home. Maybe it's once a month to write a letter to an elderly. Maybe it's once every other week to serve at a homeless shelter or an animal shelter. Think of ways that you can help others with your time, with your talents, and with your resources. See, guys, there is a secret sauce that will allow us to achieve every single New Year's resolution, and that's if we go to God first. Maybe you won't achieve it in the way that you think you would, but you would achieve it in God's eyes if it's God's will and God's plan for your life. And so that is where your perspective needs to change. This is not just something that we should start at the beginning of the year. And then if we don't feel motivated throughout, the month of January, we just stop. No, there are going to be times where you forget. There are going to be times where you want to quit. But that's when you go back to God and you start again. You don't need another January 1st to start these New Year's resolutions. You don't need another January 1st to go talk to God. You don't need another January 1st to start thinking of the ways that you can serve our community and those around us. You don't need a new year to have a new vision and new perspective for God. And so as you start this new year, my prayer for you is that you would coordinate with God's plan, God's purpose, God's will for your life, and that you will not think selfishly, but selflessly of how you can help others and those around you.